So I read about Maui, the fires. I wrote about that. Very clearly a land grab. You may remember how many kids died?
No.
Do you remember? The USA article said 750 kids are missing.
Yep.
Right? When a kid's missing after something like that, they're dead. But they're not missing, they're dead. Maybe a couple found their way, someone drove them out of town, but they're dead. Try to find anywhere a statement about dead kids now. You can't find it. You go to Wikipedia. You search the word child, you search the word, you read it, there's no mention of dead children. There were 750 kids missing according to USA Today. Then all of a sudden the governor saying, well, we're worried about land speculators, so we're going to buy the land up so that the speculators can't get it. And I go, so you can sell it to your friends, right? Is it possible maybe they mowed down Lahaina because they want to put up resorts and things, right? But what also was out there was this idea of directed energy weapons starting the fires. Now, I think that was a dead end. I don't think directed energy weapons were used, even though they're called DEWs, even though there's a DEW facility on Maui. You don't need that. And there were videos. I go, I think those are fake. So I found nothing, but I used it as an excuse to read up on DEWs. And I was reading RAND reports from 40 years ago. And
what is a directed energy weapon?
It's basically Star Wars. And so it's Reagan Star Wars, and everyone said, oh, that's just science fiction. I go, well, Gorbachev seemed to want to get rid of them every chance he got. So Gorbachev took them very seriously. So it turns out what you do is you put something in space, and it shoots some sort of energy, guided energy down to the surface of the Earth. And the different frequencies have different efficacies. And so some are really good at hitting a target. Some broaden out, like microwaves are different than some sort of ultraviolet laser. I'm not very good at this stuff, but and then I started reading about what they do is they use a pulse of one laser to punch a hole through the atmosphere, and then the second pulse would go through that hole. I mean, it's really clever stuff. This is 40-year-old RAND reports. What do they have behind the paywall 40 years later? Now, the best, I think, evidence of a DEW being used, and I was reading about fires in different places where trees were burning that shouldn't have burned, and cars. I wrote about it. If someone wants to go read it, that was a couple of years ago. The best evidence of a DEW. So if you've got these, you got to test them, right? It's like why you need bioweapons labs in Ukraine. You got to test them. You can't use lab rats. You look at the Quebec fires, satellite imagery of the Quebec fires, very mysterious. About 26-ish fires started simultaneously. How do you know some? Well, if a fire starts and then another one starts, it'll be downwind. So you'll see, it'll look like the Hawaiian Islands, right?
Right.
Boom, all at once. 26 fires. In a crudely buckshot pattern, there was 350 miles in diameter. Boy, that's a determined arsonist. Or at least 26 of them.
Yeah.
In the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, with helicopter. I mean, there are no roads, so.
And so, no, a cell phone can't do it, nothing, right? They're in the middle of nowhere, and all of a sudden they all start simultaneously, and I'm going, okay, that probably was them testing out their weapons. And we have a lot of wars to test weapons, right?
It's pretty obvious now that this country is getting weaker than ever, meaning the population is unhealthier. That's what MAHA is about, trying to counteract this long-term trend that's culminated in a disaster. Americans are so unhealthy, we can't staff the military. And it's really, really sad. Why is this happening? Maybe because sick people are easier to control. Whatever the reason, there are answers to it. And one of them is Joy and Blokes. They are revolutionizing supplements with smart supplements that are personalized for you. They're based entirely on your genetics, your biomarker data. They're not guessing. So they use labs, advanced labs that measure up to 110 key biomarkers. Then their clinicians design a precision supplement plan that's updated as your body changes. So it's not just off-the-shelf vitamins. It's much more precise and therefore much more effective. So there are about 3 billion possible combinations. And the effect is you get exactly what you need and you get nothing that you don't need. You also get 60 to 30-minute consultation, depending how much time you need. You get access to expert-guided hormone care, including testosterone optimization for both men and women, longevity medicine, cutting-edge peptide therapy, and you get it all from home. Right now, new customers get 50% off all diagnostic labs, plus 20% off all products and therapies. You also get a free 15-minute health coach consult. And the effect is the desired effect: stronger, sharper, more energy. You get it right away. Go to Joy and Blokes, Joy and Blokes.com/Tucker, root cause medicine. It's the way healthcare ought to be.
The other problem I face is that I don't write about stuff I'm an expert. I write about stuff that I know nothing. And so when I wrote about, I've been following Putin, but when the Ukraine war came, first thing I noticed, I bet you noticed it too, it wasn't a war. It was a police action. And they weren't killing people. They were moving troops across the border. They were talking to Ukrainians. And I kept saying to my wife, this is not a war. And you'd see some grandmother going, this is just really terrible, and I'm going, that's not a war. You want to see a war? Look at Baghdad, day one.
Right.
That's a war. That's what a war looks like, right? You'd see an explosion from 20 miles away. You wouldn't know what blew up, right? Like, my wife thought I was nuts. I go, it's not a war. It's not a war. Well, it became a war because, as you and I both know, NATO wanted a war. And so it morphed from being a police action, which I think Putin was trying to throw a fastball past NATO's chin and saying, back off on this whole NATO
that's
thing.
Correct.
And so when I wrote about that, I found about 20 to 40 guys who were trying to get it right, which includes you. It includes guys like Max Abramson. Do I know that? Do I have that right? Glenn Greenwald, the guy who died, what's his name? The guy who got killed by the Ukrainians.
Gonzalo Lira.
An
American who was murdered by the Ukrainian government.
And we could have gotten him out with a phone call, and we chose not to.
100%.
Because the narrative was Putin's bad. Ukraine's a bunch of really nice guys, super nice guys. It's a democracy. What a crock of shit. That was a lie from head to toe. We wanted a war. We still want a war. I have intelligence friends too, not like you, but I have them. And I was talking to one the other day. I think he likes to talk to me because he can talk to me about these subjects. And in his universe, I'm the only guy he can talk to for which he doesn't have to worry, because everyone else in his world is connected to everyone else in his world.
Right.
So I think he likes to have real honest conversations. One day, we're on the phone. He says, do you do Signal? I go, yeah. So we went to Signal. He said, someone was listening to us. Boy.
There's a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah, I know.
So there's always a narrative. There's always one narrative, and we're now in an era where you only get to talk about that narrative. You know that. I know that. You and I, we're just mutually.
Yeah, and the penalties for straying from the story
You get fired.
are real. Yeah, totally. I mean, whatever. There's been no age in human history where telling the truth, the real truth, is rewarded.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. We hope you'll subscribe to it. And by the way, you can hit the little bell on there and get notifications every time we produce a video. We hope you'll do that also.